So this is the recording I'm starting, and it is, what is it? July 29th, 2024. This is Magenta who's recording, and I'm with...
Okay.
You just say your name.
Oh, my name is Ruth
There you go.
Ann Jasinski.
All right. So I have these sorted into early life, midlife, and later life. So we're going to go chronologically. And I have them all sorted, but of course they're not in the order I expected. Okay, so I'm going to start with early life. And one of the questions I really wanted to ask was, how did you get your name? Did your parents have a reason for why they picked Ruth, or did they just want to stick with the R theme?
They have the name Ruth because everybody has a R. There's Rosalie, Rita, Roman, Ruth, and Rachel.
Okay. So there's no deeper meaning. There wasn't like, Ruth is this character from the Bible and we really liked her and we wanted you to emulate that like personality. It was just the R?
Now, okay, let's stop. Maybe you can ask me and then I'll let you know. Just, I found out when they went to that particular church, they still keep these things. But they did a lot of it because we were Polish from Poland, and not my mother didn't come from Poland, but her mother, they came from Poland. But here they put my name a little bit like Polish. I thought, no, I'm Ruth Ann. But so it's very interesting to get from 1933.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's that one. What are some of your earliest memories?
I was, as I told you, I had to have, apparently they didn't know what this was about, the eye doctors at that time. So when I was 4 years old, and my mother spent money she shouldn't have because of this doctor, but that's the way it was. She went to a real nice place. So I had glasses from the time I was 4 years old. So therefore, you didn't play with all the kids because they ran around, they played good years ago, baseball, blah, 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 all that stuff. But it didn't bother me. I just was a person. I didn't know about all this, and my mother and father didn't either, because the doctors didn't know what was what happened.
Okay.
It took them just years to figure out. It's like going in an eye is creepy.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, especially when you don't have those specialized kinds of cameras to see like really close in your eye. That would have been risky.
They didn't.
Yeah.
They just would put some words on, whatever. The doctors, yes, they did have a word, but they didn't go into it yet.
Okay. Okay, well, if that's one of your earliest childhood memories, that's not a super happy one. So probably, what's the happiest memory you have from your childhood?
Christmas. Because you got one gift. Say it was something real pretty, or for your doll, you would have one of those. But you got, we did, because my mother and her mother threw in some money. Maybe you don't understand, but there wasn't money. Just think of the 1920s. Where was the money? My father and his father had their Come on, Dad.
Grandfather?
Huh?
Are you looking for the word for grandfather?
Well, no, his dad and him,
Uh-huh.
They had a business where the people got coal
Mm-hmm.
to warm their house. That's what you had was coal. And they had all this coal and all this different stuff. So that was already from, I think, 1925 or something. And my dad, he didn't get married till he was one of those, till he was 30. He says, I'll wait till. Then my mother was there too. Her parents had another, just what I said. They had that coal.
Mm.
Well, she was to one of the meetings for coal dealers, and there was my dad, and that was the end of that one. But they were a little older. Don't forget, people years ago got married very early.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that was kind of a little different. A little different in my house. As I said, Rosalie was the oldest
Mm-hmm.
and knew everything. But that's just the way it was. And then Rita too. Now those were the two oldest,
Mm-hmm.
and they, my mom and them, they let them. She let them do a lot of stuff, and I just never put two and two together, because here's where these two oldest daughters, they were tall, they made their own clothes.
Mm.
Yeah, so you had to do that years ago, because they didn't like what was in the store or anything, so they would get the extra money, get the clothes, and Rita would use this kind of, when you did your clothes, you had to do this. You didn't have with your feet to make it move.
Oh, like when she was making the actual clothes, or when she was spinning wool?
No, when in order to make her clothes, you had this at the bottom, and your 2 feet, and you had to move that. That's yeah. Look it up sometime when you're in buy books or something like that. No, they're just strange stuff. Believe me.
I guess
See,
so.
but I didn't. Whatever these two girls did, they did well. But as I said many times, everybody is different.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just happy the way I was. I was just this child with glasses, and they were glasses. They were not like this. They were glass.
Oh.
Yeah. So the little girls just kind of, we lived in a nice house, by the way, close to Lake Michigan.
Nice.
And hey, what can I say?
Okay, I'm so curious to hear if anyone ever got coal for Christmas. If it was already the family business, if someone was naughty, did they just get coal?
I had one brother.
Mm-hmm.
They were told always, every Christmas, but whether they did it. Because I think they were smart enough to not do that. Because I think the parents, it was kind of what was called what was that before Christmas?
St. Nick's?
Yes. Now that was a little, okay, behave, type.
Okay.
Look I had 4 boys. But what are you going to do? I wasn't the kind, they'll behave for a week because they're going to get some candy, that type. I was not the kind that I knew. everybody played. They had, as I said, our other house, they had a nice whole yard and everything. It was almost like, it was very, very nice. But anyhow, okay, what did you just ask me?
If anyone ever got coal for Christmas if they were naughty when you were a kid?
No, I don't think so. I think they used their brains a little.
Okay, well that's good.
This was very important. Don't forget, this was very important.
Okay, you were
and
mentioning...
I know some parents did do it, but I just didn't like it. So I behaved too, I think.
Nice. That's a good incentive.
or my mother behaved or somebody, so she would have a nice Christmas. Because you didn't get a lot. You got just some of your candy and a little bit. There wasn't a lot, because I told you, there was businesses, but where was the money?
Yeah.
I don't know how they lived. I have no idea. But they keep talking that like there was no. The money came a little later. I thought, well, what did you do before there was so, all different kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So, if you ever had pocket change or extra money on you, what would you spend it on when you were a kid?
I would just keep it. That's the kind I would. I would kind of hide it. Maybe my brother would look. No, I would hide. I would put it somewhere where, in fact, nobody probably even knew I had it. Say it was a penny. Say it was a nickel. But see, that would grow. But you got one boy in a house, and they like to go and just take it.
So you were smart with it.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Because first of all, I also got maybe a 5. You only from the other, my dad's. His mom was and stuff. They would give us a nickel. That was a lot. A nickel was a lot. So that I think I would go hiding for some reason. Don't ask me why. But because that's what we did.
Okay. I'm not gonna knock that.
No, because that was a big deal for these people to give you a nickel, by the way. And that was my dad's Polish. She was Polish. She spoke Polish. Some of her daughters speak Polish. I did not speak Polish. My older sister speaks Polish. That's why I was quiet.
Nice.
See, that's why it is. You got the older ones. Let them do all the work, and you just stayed real nice, like a nice person with glasses.
Yeah.
I knew what to do. Not much.
Okay. Well, who are some of the most famous celebrities when you were growing up? And which celebrities did you look up to?
Oh man, I don't know if I. Can you help me with that?
Well, okay. If we're gonna focus it a little bit more, who did you listen to when the radio was on?
The radio.
Yeah. So who was on it?
Okay. The radio, when my mother put it on in 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, don't forget she had to iron everything. She had to iron for the men to wear and so you did that. And then when my dad would come home, he would put on 6:30 to 7. That's what was going on all over the world. That, and then in Cudahy, there's a lot of people that love to go to taverns, and my dad would go. But then, of course, he was working all day what they had. But then on Sunday, when we had a real nice room. What were they called?
A parlor?
Your front room, and then a real nice one with all windows, and then we would sit in that one. And okay, what did you just say? What my dad? Wait.
I was wondering who is on the radio, and then if there were any celebrities you looked up to.
I see. I kind of listened to what the older ones, because don't forget they always had the first stuff by the time it came to me. But I would listen, and I even listened when my dad, like Sunday, we'd sit in the sun, it was called the sunroom, and we sit there, and I thought, oh, he's sitting in his chair. That's nice. Dad is here, and then he would, they'd put it on, but then there was at every Sunday, it was 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. There was one of these spooky things. I forgot. There was. We'd sit in the sunroom. I would my brother and we'd listen to these spooky things on the radio. Yes.
Okay.
But I wish I could remember. But you might have to go back and see what it was. But it was spooky stuff.
I'm thinking of like the War of the Worlds broadcast with Orson Welles. Do you remember hearing that one?
What was it?
The War of the Worlds. And that was a radio broadcast where he kind of faked it so that aliens were invading New Jersey, and then there were all of these people who were dying.
I did not watch stuff like that.
Okay.
See, there may have been. And there may have some of my family that was in the sunroom, and maybe they did that, but I kind of didn't like that kind of stuff. Maybe I walked out of the room and went and got a book.
That sounds about right for you.
My sister said I was always with a book in the corner. But, you know, if they liked it, I didn't have any, I didn't say anything, well, don't. Just listen. Because they were older.
Yeah, they would probably keep you in line then, I guess.
Well, no. That I was who I was. I was just. I don't know. I was just. I was a quiet person. I didn't feel bad about it. I didn't. I just saw these 2 older sisters, and I thought, oh, what the heck are they doing? But I didn't. In fact, I was very sick when I was, what did they get years ago? I think I was 7 or 8 years old at school. What was a real bad one that I could have almost died?
Polio?
Well, maybe somewhere around there.
Measles or mumps?
Measles, something like that.
Okay.
And now, my dad, my brother, nobody could come into the house. And then, of course, my dad had to go where his folks lived to work. And it was my sister and I were in one bedroom. I was the sicker one. We were both sick, but I was, and they just couldn't do. They did very little because they knew very little. And then of course, my oldest sister took care of Rachel was the last one. She got the measles the same time we were in those 2 rooms. She was in another room, and Rosalie was there taking care of her, because Rosalie ended up she was a very, very good nurse. They wanted her to teach. She said, sorry, I had enough at Marquette, and she went to work, but she never wanted to teach, just because. But she was very, very good. So, but anyhow, so I was, whatever you said, one of those where I was very sick, but there was nothing to give me. It was very little that they put in your mouth and stuff. You just had to. I was away from school, and then I think I was finally sort of done, and I went to the picnic, and then you went to home. It was summertime,
Oh.
you know, but that was, see, that's why I think because of that, because of my eyes, you know, I just lived. I never thought of everything that I'm thinking now.
Mm.
I didn't even know that your parents didn't say a lot. Because they knew the doctors didn't. We went downtown on a bus to, I don't know why she paid that, who was a nice guy, but he did the same thing. And as I was, you know, I would go like the next year and I'd say to myself, oh. But I wouldn't say nothing to my mother because that's what you did years ago. Because she was thinking of helping me and stuff. But up in my mind, I just, you know, they didn't have a lot like they have now with the eyes. I go now and then I just went to one not long ago. Patty said, you gotta go to this guy with your eyes down here. And here he comes out with this new one that nobody ever used. And he puts it on here and he says, oh, what color is it? Well, it's black. Well, what color is this? Well, this is green so this one was always not doing nothing, but it takes a long, eyes are not that easy to work with. You may know
true.
that.
Yeah.
They're very, very delicate.
Mm-hmm.
Because my older sister had a problem. They said, she was getting older, we're not doing a thing. Just leave it the way it is, because it isn't worth all that. But no, so I was all that time, but I did, what can I say? I went to school like everybody did. I did my work like everybody did. I went to, and after high school, I just decided to go to that school, whatever, what was it? Come on.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
I know, but anyhow, I was there for a couple of years, and then I just kept doing. I was who I was, and I wasn't really, because of the eye, I think, and always glasses and stuff. Mm-hmm. But no, later they went to plastic, but I don't know when.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, I just, you know, but anyhow, even in high school, the girls were so nice, and they were, I don't know if you did that, they did so much nice stuff at school and after, and see, I just never did that. I just went home, walked home, and was happy, did my work, and then finally I also had, of course I walked up, and I got a job with nice stuff that people would eat, the ice cream and stuff, you know, but I never felt, I'm going from stuff that I'm reading now that I felt I just didn't feel nothing was wrong just because the other girls did what they did. You know, it just never bothered me. Like, did some girls have a tendency of this and that compared to boys who probably don't even care?
Well, I think we have a good segue into the next set of questions, which are pretty much just about your teenage years. So you brought up, like, doing, like, ice cream scooping and stuff at your first job. So do you remember where your first job was?
My first job was, my aunt said that because that business they had, that was where all the coal was. Well, then in Cudahy, they went on Packard Avenue, put a new thing in there for the people. Don't forget, the people came and paid their bill. You didn't have, where you just didn't have what they do now, where the mailman comes. So the people come there. Well, she would said to me, she was in charge. In fact, the dad, not my dad, his dad, made these young, not young, his daughters, one of them was in New York in art and everything. And he says, you're coming home because the business worked more. So they made a new one on Packard Avenue where the people could come. So I'm telling you, it was no fun years ago when your dad would, not mine, but this is their grandpa with these girls. You got to come and work. And she was an artist and everything. It says, if you don't come, I'm coming and getting you.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tough time. Tough time. So there was, and you asked about, then her name was Aunt Helen, and she said, well, coming back, maybe I was maybe 15. And she says, then I'll let you do a little bit with, where the people paid and all this different kinds of stuff. She thought she was helping me, and she was in a way, because I wasn't a Rosalie or I wasn't my sister Rita, I was just who I was. So then I would go ever so often by her, but then when I got to be 15 or 16, I went where the ice cream was, and then I got my own job there, which I liked a lot, because it was a real nice place. The people come in, you make real nice stuff years ago, and stuff like that.
Do you remember the name of the ice cream shop?
I don't know.
Okay.
See, because it's too long.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. There's a violin maker who has a shop that's in Bayview, and it's a converted ice cream store. And I'm wondering if that's the same one that you
I
would...
think that came later.
Okay.
Because this one in Cudahy was on the main, where the people came. It was very nice. It had this part, and then this part sold things for people to buy to eat. Like, what am I trying to say? Come on. Well, anyhow, it was done very well.
Okay.
On that side, but we from the ice cream side didn't go there. But we were in. No, I just enjoyed it. The people would come and we'd give them this nice thing, and put banana, and put the 3 pieces of ice cream, and this was such a big deal for a person to come because it cost money.
Yeah.
So see, I enjoyed it, but then I would finish it like at 11 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
Then I walked home, and I was on Packard Avenue, and I went all the way to my house by the lake almost. So I never thought of it, but it was pretty spooky nowadays.
Yeah.
But years ago, I took what money I got for working and whatever.
And I feel like teenagers are just at that age where they feel invincible too. Like, you're not gonna think about walking home alone in the dark. Like, it's just the thing you do.
I mean, I have worked now, not now, when I was under 65, and there was a couple of could be guys over here, where the bus is. But, lady, I say to myself, so just leave the guy there, because he wants to make, for me to say something. Well, I never would go on a bus, just go.
Exactly.
If you know how to deal, because they're spooky. They're very spooky.
Yeah.
In fact, there was one that almost, because I walked a certain place where I wanted to go to work, and somebody was following me in the morning, and then I thought, okay, this is bad. Then I turned around. For some reason, I thought maybe I should, and then he saw me, and then he just ran away. But I never walked that way again. I walked that way again, another way, down to go to, But see, that's what it was years ago. What can I say?
Yeah.
Now it's cars. Of course, there was always buses and stuff like that. But buses, I took plenty of buses from Cudahy to Milwaukee and because I just didn't have a car. But so life went on.
C'est la vie. Okay, so next is tell me about the time you got into the most trouble with your parents.
The last.
Just the time you remember the most, or like the time that freaked you out the most, that you got into trouble with your parents.
I don't. You know, the only thing that I could tell you, and when I went out with the guy, he had a car, and he would, a very nice guy, and then I would just talk to him, get out of the car and go in the house. Well, Rosalie and Rita would bring their guys in the house, and I went with this guy, and he was fine. I was happy. Just it worked out, but I never. I got along real well with who I was going with. This was a little later, it wasn't. But I think I just saw other people do dumb stuff, so I just thought I'm going to be cool. I told one of the guys, I says, "You touch me, I'm tough," because he knew my older sister.
Oh.
And I says, "You dare." And I was a quiet person. They would never expect it from me. And I says, "You touch me, I'm telling Rosalie," and that was the end of that. See, that's how I was. I was quiet, but yet it was there. Like, come on, these are still guys. The guys are guys years ago, and stuff like that.
So you don't have any specific incidents where your parents like scolded you or like grounded you or did anything like that?
Yes.
Here we go.
This was when Rachel and me, we were, okay, what I had to do, I was younger then. I was, how old could I be? And my mother would say, "Kneel down in the kitchen by the chair." Because she had so much to do. She's, with the food, and she was down in the basement all summer making, all the food in the can and everything. And Rachel. And then of course, my one sister would blame me, which I never did because she was the second. She was Rita. She would always blame other people. That's girls at that time. But I never paid attention to her. I just don't know. She's. But then I would kneel down by the chair, and for me to kneel was not a problem. My mother thought it would be, and I thought, I just like this kneeling. I'm in church. That's the way I thought. And I never said a word to my mother. And then finally she said, "You can get up." I don't know how long I was kneeling, but I was just thinking up here and thinking, this is just great. Never told her, because then, it was just different. Like, I could have been real nice and talked to her, but then I thought, no, I really like my mother, by the way. She had a little tough problem too with all that she had to do. And then her mother lived with us that's right. I had my mother's mother lived with us and she came upstairs with us, with that house, and took care of us for about, her husband died, a businessman, and then she just didn't have anywhere to, she came by us, I think 7 years. My mother did a lot of also extra. People years ago did real nice stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then my grandma would just rock, or she would sit in a rocker and just rock me back and forth. That was so, that's right. See, if you talk to me long enough, I will go back to how I live.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she was there, and then she finally moved on. But she stayed away, like when my dad would come home, she'd be upstairs. Very quiet, lovely, lovely lady. They were years ago.
Nice.
You know, and she was very nice helping my mother, because as I said, my mother would like to go to certain things maybe or something. Mm-hmm. She didn't get, she would have liked to really gone more to maybe with other people in it, but she didn't. She just had a lot to do, and the house was so, you know, she kept that house just perfect and all that different kinds of stuff years ago.
Nice.
And all that, all summer, that's all she did was buy baskets of food and make us the food for all this, the whole all winter.
Well, I hope Auntie Julie covers some of that in her food book, because I would love to learn more about canning and preserving stuff, and it sounds like that's what she did.
Okay, it's a little up now. Don't take somebody's older, go get a new one.
Okay.
Get a new one online. They have these nice books. No, you can ask somebody. But I did it, and I won't tell you because it's so different now. It was a lot of work years ago.
Yeah.
I had like a big thing like that, and that's right, I did that too.
Yeah.
See, I just, my life was, I just did. I just did it because it was supposed to be done. I never thought too much about it. It's like, okay, Bob just brought me all this stuff, go down the basement and make it, cook, you know, do it so you can eat for winter.
Yeah. Okay, well, speaking of doing, when you were a teenager, where did you hang out with your friends and how did you spend your time together?
I didn't.
Oh.
I was, how do I say that? See, I wasn't, okay, I had a nice time in high school, but I didn't, for some reason, didn't go, and there was such a nice things you could go to, you know, and you know how they did that in the schools where...
Yeah, like clubs and organizations.
Yes, clubs and this and that and that. And I just, for some reason, I cannot explain to you why I studied and stuff, and for some reason I would walk home, do my homework, and maybe I helped I just don't know. But I was thinking of that the other day. That's very nice that you asked. I would say to myself, oh, I didn't feel anything wrong. It's just that I just didn't go to these nice meetings because I was reading, you know how you buy that thing from the high school?
Like from a book fair?
Well, yeah, that what they do for the whole school. You know, we always got one, I think, every year, but now they're charging very expensive for doing it at these high schools. where they take all the pictures.
Oh, a yearbook.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's yearbooks of mine here.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I just how do I explain that? I was not. Some of those girls were real tall, and then they made also their nice home, you know, how they looked and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I just was happy to what I had. In fact, I did get clothes from I think it was a cousin or something that my mom. They would come to the house with a big thing, and then one of them was they had money, and they were from on my mother's side, and they would come with a lot of their clothes. These were all girls. They lived in a beautiful home and went to beautiful schools. But then Rosie and Rita took what they wanted the most, but then one time I got this beautiful, what are they called? Just short, but like a sweater, but then it had that real beautiful stuff in there, and I thought, that's the one thing. So I wore that thing. You know, years ago you could wear a thing, maybe you had only 5 things, so that would be one, and then, but here was this lovely, which I think everybody thought I just had, I didn't tell them I got it from somebody. I thought, you just, let you think that I had money. That's the way, see, I was all, that's okay, because I had the older ones, that's why. I would just do this to myself or something, but it was, some of them were real nice that I got from, they were our cousins on my mother's side or something. Yeah, so, yeah, that's
nice.
Where I didn't buy any clothes. I used nice clothes that people gave me.
Very thrifty.
And they looked like to some of the kids in the high school that I lived in that nice house, but that wasn't me. I just used other people and happened to be in a house that my mother and father made, brand new. When they were married, they had this house all done already, but I'm still here.
Yeah?
Come on.
Okay.
Can't see out of my eye, but I'm doing fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want any water to take a break or anything before we go into your middle life? No?
No. In fact, it's 4 o'clock.
Okay.
But yes, I do have things, but I will, when you're done, I will go and get this and this. I take stuff during the day.
Gotcha.
But I'm just going to continue.
Okay. This is probably the shortest section because I feel like Emily covered a lot of these questions that I already had on the box. So,
in fact, I don't even know if I told them both what I was telling you now. I doubt, because sometimes it just isn't there.
Well, and I tried to pull questions that were really, really different from the ones they asked you,
Good,
so I'd get different
because
answers.
See, when the 2 of them were here, it's nice having one. Because that one's laughing to that one, and how am I supposed to think? I mean, it was fun, but they had a good time in here.
Aww.
But now they got to go to work and stuff.
Fair enough. Well, speaking of work, what are some of your proudest professional accomplishments?
My accomplishments.
At work specifically.
Well, okay. Of course, I finished high school, then I went to, it was called Prospect Hall. That was where I was for 2 years to do all, this was high end. And I had to do all this and at 100 times, but then I graduated from there.
Okay, I just want to note that Prospect Hall was the typing school, right?
What?
That was the typing school you went to, right?
Yes.
Okay, I just
No.
want to make that clear because no one can
Very
see that on the
high
recording.
end. Very high end. But I went on a bus. There were some girls that lived there that came from somewhere. And see, now I wasn't even with them. You know why? Because that's another thing. One of the teachers said I didn't have to go to, we'll skip fourth grade and you go on to fifth. So that made me younger 1 year to go to Prospect Hall, which those girls were either maybe 19 by that time, where I was 18, which made a big, I went there because it cost, I had to pay for it, but you didn't have a lot of money, but some of those girls did, and there was a beautiful home right across the street from that, and they lived there and went to Prospect Hall. And I just went to Prospect Hall, did all that I was supposed to do, jumped on a bus, went to work. I went to work downtown, what were some of the big Boston? Wait, what are
Boston store?
No, what were some of the where people would buy?
Oh, a department store like J.C. Penney?
Well, no, higher than that I went to, but that's okay. But then I worked there. I went to Prospect Hall, did because all of this I did there, till I went to work. I could go in another room and stuff. But so then I did work downtown Milwaukee at, not Gimbel's, but the other one. There was another one.
Woolworths?
No, not that one. It's still higher than that. I think it was with a B. Was it Boston? I don't know. Maybe.
Boston store was the one that closed maybe like 7 or 8 years ago now. That was the big department store.
Yeah, that was on the downtown.
Yeah.
But I was there when it was just beautiful, really.
Ooh.
Years ago. It was so nice. And I just was so nice to the people. Mm-hmm. Like this one time at Christmas, all I did was sell them sweaters. That's what. Maybe they say a guy would come and maybe it was for his mother, mm-hmm. that type. And it just hit me. So I just loved what I was doing, and it was nothing, just a certain, the guys would come, and then I'd say, well, let's give it to her a little bigger, how guys just buy, but so it was just kind of a nice thing.
Nice.
But that's what they did years ago, and. But so I worked there, and I always had to work because I had to have money,
yeah.
And stuff like that. But Boston was a very nice place to work. But I couldn't buy anything because I had to. I didn't feel bad. I still had clothes from whoever gave them to me. I looked fine.
Well, there you go.
So what, hey?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows.
Okay, so most of these other questions are about getting married and having kids. But also, before we go to those, I know you said you didn't have a ton of friends when you were in high school or as a teenager, but do you remember who your best friends in your early 20s were? Like in Chicago even?
No. Chicago was very different. Don't forget, I'm 25 years old. Then all of a sudden I get pregnant. I worked, but then I worked for lawyers there. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden I didn't work for lawyers there. But I was old enough I would take a walk and get our milk or something. It was very different at that time.
Mm-hmm.
You get your milk, whatever. And then when I had Julie, is that her name, the oldest?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I would have her, take care of her. Don't forget, I am also doing all the cooking, and we didn't buy, we made meals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Don't forget, I forgot about that as I was talking. When you went to work, when I went to work, or went to Prospect Hall, I think I took a sandwich. That's all. And I was happy. I thought now to myself, no wonder I was so skinny all the time. But I felt good. Whatever. So, okay, now what were we?
The question was, who were some of your friends in your early 20s?
Okay, I just can't remember right now, but I did have a couple of cousins that I really liked. They were a little older. That one, her name was Esther. I just liked her so much. And she never married, but she had a little something wrong. But she just, years ago, say you have something, just like we were talking about the eye. I don't know what hers was, but she was such a nice person. Then I would go to her. And we would go, and I'm sorry, that's from my mother's side. We'd always go on New Year's, and they would play cards till who knows when, and then you'd go home. Well, that was what they did. But then I said to her when I was about 20 years old, I said, Florence, no, I said Esther, Florence, was that, no, what was her, there's Esther, Florence, whatever you are. But anyhow, this is the one that I like the best. And I said to her, I just don't have, like, it's nothing wrong, but I just don't have people. Then she said, well, I belonged to this organization, which happened to do also with the Catholic Church, but that's different. That was not easy at that time to get in, and stuff like that. But that started up because I also, I don't even know if you want to call it a religious person, but I still enjoyed when I would go to church, and stuff like that. It wasn't the same like, but anyhow, then she would tell me about this organization. So that's how I had to be accepted. It took 2 years. You went to once a month to a meeting and stuff like that. It was very, very, I liked it. It was very nice and tough. They're very, that's what I liked out of life, by the way. I didn't like easy stuff. And then all of a sudden, because after, was that 2 years? And then I started, they had every month, how people do, tell people what's happening.
Oh, yeah.
All that month.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't even think about it. But then I said to somebody, well, is there somewhere, this was where I would go on Mitchell Street or something. I can't think of where it is right now. So we would go to this nice little church, and then we'd go to across the street. And then one time I says, well, if you tell me, I'll do this whole thing for you every month. They had a thing upstairs where you just could put that. It was all here. How the heck did I do that? because I was probably doing it at another job. But here I did their what went on and what people did. They were in several groups. Now I did not. Bob was there, but I didn't get him for a while. In fact, I think he asked somebody who I was, because he was in the service for that. It was that long time. Was it 8 years that you didn't go into the service, but every summertime you had to go? I forget what that was called.
Is that the reserve?
Yes.
Okay.
So he did not. He may have taken a girl out, but he never, till he was done after those 6 years or what they were.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden he would say, well, who was that? That was me, and stuff like that. And then, I was upstairs doing this, and somebody was helping me every month make it now. Why not? Here's this machine. And then, by the way, I took the bus home at night and walked all that way. I was working, and then I went with them, and then I did this, and I probably never paid attention to what I was doing because I knew they wanted that by that. That's what you did kind of years ago. You did it. And then I'm thinking now, I went on the bus, and I went home and walked off that bus maybe 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
That's just what I guess you did.
Yeah, that's a long day. Wow.
It was a long day because I was at work or something. But here I asked my cousin but she was right. The people were just very adults. And they probably had their troubles too. But, sometimes some of them were that way from 18 to more. But don't forget, here I was already getting to be 20, 24, 25. But it was a different, they did a lot of stuff, by going out. Oh, hey, I went, if we went with the girls and the guys up to Michigan, where they were, a lot of them were, at wintertime.
Okay.
What?
Like ice skating?
No, worse than that.
Skiing?
Skiing.
Okay.
See, Bob would ski, way at the top. We would go, but we would go with guys and with the girls. But the guys were in their thing at night, and we were in another part, just with the girls. Mm-hmm. None of this boy-girl stuff, and then we go outside and several times over the weekend and watch them coming flying down, and no, see, but I tried to do it, but it kind of wasn't my thing. But a lot of them were in the wintertime. They would really, and then Bob was way up there, and I thought, once I read a book about it, and then I thought, well, I never knew that about him, because he did that from the time he was maybe 19 years old or 18 or who knows,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I did go out with the groups, and it was very nice. It was kind of me, where I just wasn't, I don't know what it was. Just like, say now, how other people react, and then you kind of, say I said to you, I says, well, don't you go and, go to, they're not taverns, but where they give you all the stuff to meet people. And they, what's her name, whoever that was, she just looked at me. It's like, no, I'm not going back there. Now, but years ago, there was one place that it was all around like this, a whole bunch of us, and I would, actually, all I ever had was one drink. I just couldn't even, I never had beer, I just had one expensive at that time, but that's all I ever had.
What was your drink of choice? What did you order?
Wait, what was that? I mixed it a little. I can't think right now. It's up here, I can almost see it, but I can't think of. But, you know, and I'm just trying to get back with the bunch of people we were with. That it was decent, you know, and I just happened to flip in there, and then life went on. Isn't that interesting? It's like, because everybody's different, and I just wasn't one. There was a bunch of girls in the high school that were really bad, by the way, years ago. They would, in fact, I would see them. They were one guy, because we lived right next to the park. Mm-hmm. I thought, there she is again with another guy. That never appealed to me at all. Never said a word, never told anybody, but I could probably almost see it from our upstairs thing into the park. And whatever, hey?
Yeah, mind your own business. Who cares?
That's okay.
Yeah.
No, it was that people are people. Yeah. What are you going to do?
Okay, well, I'm going to ask my next question. So, we were talking a little bit about Bob and skiing and stuff, but thinking back, what attracted you to Bob in the first place?
I don't know. I would really have to think about that, because it's a long time.
Yeah. Should we come back to that question?
No, but I see some of those guys, the reason I didn't go out a lot, I didn't like some of the guys. Just like I told you, mm-hmm. I said to that one that was going with my sister. Those guys, he was very well in what he did. He made a lot of money, and I had no interest in that. I just wanted a person that was nice and decent or so. I don't know. I can't tell you, because that's the way it happened. Mm. You know, or who knows? I don't know.
Okay.
It just happened, and because I was still getting a little older, which it never bothered me, but I think it bothered other people, because they were telling me that, well, hey, some of them are marrying earlier. I thought, just let them. You know, but it was a different time than it is now.
Yeah.
Now, anything goes. Back then, a few girls got in big trouble. Everybody would know about it, probably except her parents. You know, it was a different time.
Okay.
Different time.
Well, back then, how did your friends and family feel about Bob when you announced that you were engaged?
They probably said, "Lucky, get her out of here." No, they were nice. It wasn't okay. Rosalie, Rita, they're very double wedding. Mm-hmm. Beautiful, lot of nice stuff. Bob and I were just who we were, and our wedding was just the church, and then people. And then we said at 4 o'clock, goodbye, we got to go to Chicago, because he was in Chicago now.
Oh, there was no reception or anything?
No, the lunch and everything was done well.
Oh.
But none of this fancy stuff.
Okay.
Because don't forget, he was in Chicago. We went on a honeymoon, started because he was with, it's taking pictures.
Yeah.
So we ended up in New York and went there. Then we went to Canada. Then we came back. He had to go to work. I had to go to find a job, and I got it right away. I didn't even have to wait. I just went because because of the kind of job I had. So we just moved on. We were not the kind that my two sisters had. They just had everybody there, so I said to myself, everybody was there. They came. There was enough. Mm-hmm. But we just, in fact, people were very nice to me. They knew what kind of person I was. I wasn't, whatever.
Okay.
What am I supposed to say? Come on, we got to get out of here at 4 o'clock, go to Chicago, get to New York, go over there and get back to Chicago. They weren't going to see me anyhow. My boss was there and everything, and I thought, the poor guy, he's got his nice, I was a real nice secretary to him. Now, I didn't think of it at the time, but I'm thinking what I went through for him day after day, that's all I did. But he was but whatever. That was a long time now, girl.
Okay,
a long time ago.
Most of these, I feel like they're getting closer to the present. This is the last question that's asking you to look very far back in your memory. What was it like when you found out you were going to have your first baby?
Oh, I just accepted. I cannot explain that to you. But I was very happy, because I knew of some, and then I was skinny. I was not a tall person, and I was so happy that I had that girl. Well, then all of a sudden it's like another one and another one. It just, I had like my own little school here. I loved it.
Aww.
I would have liked. I thought I wanted to go to and be in a school, lower, like a kindergarten or something. Mm-hmm. But I went there to, and I said to myself, I was there for less than a year, and I thought, it's not for me. I was already to Prospect Hall, but then I thought, I always really wanted to be a teacher. I couldn't. They wanted you to have the music, they want you to have the art, that you had to do everything years ago. And I thought, that is not me, I can't do it. So then I went back to all my the guys that I had to work for. Mm-hmm. No, so I was not happy. I think I just got out of my system. Why did I even think of it?
I don't know.
Because that's what you do. Sometimes you think of something and you think it's the right thing, or maybe I would always dream of it. Who knows? Mm-hmm. Who knows? But then I was fine, because then I knew I was doing so well with the lawyers. I was very, very happy, because you don't make mistakes at certain lawyers, mm-hmm. And if you do, he lets you know. No, I always ended up with, the one in Chicago I didn't really like too much. Mm-hmm. And then I got pregnant after a while, and then I just didn't like the Chicago, all different kinds of, I was there. Over there, and she was over there, but they were all over the place, and I didn't even know who they were, because I just came to Chicago. Mm. And wait, what did I just? Oh, then I would just told a few girls, okay, I'm pregnant. I have to, eventually be out of there. Well, she apparently told the big time guy who I didn't like, and I was out of it. But before that, it was only 2 days before I was leaving, one of the big time guys comes out and he says, well, why didn't you tell me you were here? He was talking to them in Milwaukee, who they worked with each other from Chicago, and the big time guys.
Okay.
And he says, well, why didn't you let me know? And I didn't say a word that I was leaving, but boy, was he a nice guy. I would have liked to work for him. He was very, but he called Milwaukee, the big time guy, not, I worked with the different ones. Don't forget there were a lot of lawyers. And he talked to the big one and he says, oh, she's over working for you because somebody told him or something. And I didn't even know none of this, by the way. And I just smiled nice and said thank you, and he was gone, and I was gone in 2 days also. But it's small world.
Yeah.
Isn't that well, the guy I worked for, we worked very hard, and then, as I said, in a year he went back to where, come on, where were you? Where did you live that you came every morning? And went back there. But anyhow, no, it was fine.
Nice.
It's just that Bob left. He went to doctors, and when he died, they just found something they didn't even saw and see. But it was his time. That's the only way you should see the boys. They were just devastated. They just couldn't get over that Bob was gone. And I thought, then that's me. That's up to me to be whatever. I didn't overdo anything with the kids. I let them, whatever I did as a person. Because of course it was pretty hard on me.
Yeah.
But hey, sometimes you gotta do your thing, and maybe you have had this even sometimes where sometimes maybe you wanted something else, who knows? Or maybe now they don't have, I think it's not as, it's different years ago and stuff like that. But Bob, too, somebody said, I wonder if he didn't even have something before they found something inside of him or something.
Yeah.
Okay, gee, thanks for telling me now.
It's a little too late now, yeah.
So it, but hey, look at what I got with all the kids and, and stuff like that. And Emily, her and what's the
Gabriel?
Huh?
Gabriel?
No, wait. She and come on, it's Rita's daughter, oldest daughter. Come on, she is married. She married this guy. And she cannot have any children. She had cancer. Come on.
I don't know your sister's, children. I don't remember
Sure
those
you
names.
do. You know her.
Oh.
Because you just said her sister before. That's her sister. The ones you went and saw all those flowers.
Oh, Maddie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, in fact, their house is for sale now because they're moving up a little bit, and she is very high up, and first of all, she's almost died at that cancer business.
Oh, Sammy, that's
Sammy.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, her mother never left the whole time she was in the hospital. She lived there, maybe she went to the house, maybe to change, but she stayed there at night and day. Rita, oh man, was that ever great? There were some bad days that they got her, and then after now her 5 years, there's a thing that she may never get it again, but if you get it a little bit after 5, you could get it again. And she knows of some bad days. See, she has a lot of people she knows because of the cancer, and she just would go all over.
Yeah.
With all these different people. Of course, she is. They just are doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
When she met him, I don't know if she put. Okay, she just wanted. How do you do that? Online or something, but she put it at high end.
Oh, are you talking about dating apps?
Yeah, she and he was the only one that answered whatever she did. This is after she had all her stuff. I don't know what she said, or even that she was Catholic. She could have put that in because she almost died when she was very sick and stuff. So people are people. Mm-hmm. But no, this guy is very, very nice to her. They went out. He was the kind that was going out with women, but he had to know everything. He's very sharp.
Yeah, Wally's a great guy.
Oh, he's very sharp. And they just have such a lovely time when he knows she can't have any children. That's a toughie too. Maybe and maybe not, but I think they just were meant to be together.
Yeah, I think so too.
He is such a nice guy. Mm-hmm. And that's so you never know.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Come on.
Okay, then the last one for today is, how did you decide on your children's names?
Don't even ask me.
Oh.
That was not, okay, first it was Julie. Then I heard from this grandma that I should have named so-and-so. Then I heard from that person and said, why didn't you name her so-and-so? I said I named her Julie because I just love the name. Julianne or something. That was the first girl. The boys, Gerald, whatever, middle names, Andrew Martin, after this, and then on and on and on, and don't even ask me why. Now Mary, I thought to myself, I never, well, she, of course, there were all those boys. Then I just said, no, I'm gonna give her a Mary. And Jeannie was after another person, so she spells it J, and this is the way the other person had, Jeanne, and the people, they just go, it's Jean, but she can go to some fancy place, and she still has to tell them Jeanne instead of Jean or something like that. And Patricia was because she was just before, what is that on St. Patrick's.
Oh. Okay.
I think she was a day before. So I just gave her Patricia or something, because of that.
Nice.
Yeah, and the other girls, what were they? Oh, whatever, come on. The boys are boys. Andrew is in, whatever, just don't say, because they were like like a year apart or something like that. That's okay.
Okay, so you didn't.
I mean, it worked for me. It just. Some people probably think I was nuts, but so then I'm nuts. Who cares? Because that's what I just felt like I was ready for. I could have, after Patty, that was the end, because the doctor says, why didn't you come here sooner, girl? And then I got my thing at 40. I just got all that. I was done.
Well, yeah, that was a lot of kids by then
because
anyway.
I didn't really. I could go. I could walk from here to a doctor and not even say anything, and come on.
Wait, so what was the thing at 40? Was it an operation, or did you just start taking birth control, or what?
I took out. What is it? What do you have when you have?
A hysterectomy?
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
And then something else because I was bleeding, and doctor, just go do your job.
Okay.
Because and then all of a sudden when he was measuring me, he says, oh, why didn't you tell me? I thought, I don't know. I didn't say a word to him. I don't know why I didn't tell you. But women do bleed once in a while. Why not just, no, that's okay. Just let me laugh it off now. But it worked out even after I had that. See, things, for some reason, I just went through. Now I have sisters that are, those two that were just in bed. The oldest one, she went over to 5 or more doctors for all over this and that and this and that. Being a nurse, she knew everything. Me being nothing, just went on. No, I did my thing, and then I had to take care of the family.
Yeah.
Some people couldn't do that. But thank heavens I didn't have a car, and I had to walk to the store, and I think the walking did it, by the way, to make me nice and strong.
Yeah.
Because I just enjoyed it, by the way. It was nice. There was that beautiful, there was a store there at one time as you went down, and then we went in. Now it's just all doctors or something. But no, I just enjoyed what I was doing. Come on.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the walking is the most important part too, because I found out when I lived here and I was driving all the time, I was just exhausted. But like now that I live somewhere where I have to walk all the time, I'm like, I have so much more energy. Like I'm feeling so much better.
That's all I did my whole life.
So maybe that's the secret to living past
Bob
90.
only had a car. He had to be to work, but of course, then he died, and he was gone, and I just kept doing it. I never thought much about it. I just enjoyed my walk. And then someone would say, would you take care of my big dog? Well, then we'd go and walk all over the creation where nobody is with these big dogs, and then I'd come back. So this walking is really the thing. People should really, even though if they have cars, they should take their car, put it down, go somewhere, and if you don't want other people to see you walking, then go and find a place and walk.
Yeah, go for a hike.
Yeah, there's
Exactly.
hiking, you know, and stuff, if you can do it. Now, that doesn't always mean everybody is going to do it, but hey, do what you can. Even if you do just not a lot, you're still doing something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had some other questions I was going to ask you about later life, but I'm thinking about traffic and driving home, so we'll have to finish up another time, I think.
Oh, sure.
All right, I'm going to stop
No,
it there.
you have